everyone, my name is Luna. I'm here to catch you up on everything that happened in episode 102 of Campaign 3 of Critical Role, Reconciliation. When we last saw Bell's Hells, they had just defeated the Grand Demon Dominox, which had been chained to an ancient engine, the occultist Thalamus, within the ruins of Aor. The party was accompanied by some allies, old and new, Tevin Flask, the champion of Asmodeus, Essek of the Kryn dynasty, and Breus Doomseed, paladin of Asmodeus and Sam Riegel's new character. Ludas appeared and proceeded to show them a historical recording of what happened to the city of Aor, which, in case you missed it, was the subject of the mini-series Downfall. You can check out all my videos about that series up here. No, it's here. I never get it right. As the images fade, Ludas addresses the group, saying that this image of the gods is the one he has always known, of beings hungry for power that took the worship of Exandrians and directed it to themselves for their own purposes.
They wade in their narcissistic fantasy and push forth decrees for mortal lives, contradictory among their kin, an endless tapestry of guesses and punishments, harvesting their faith through reverence and fear, ultimately to redirect the natural flow of the soul to their realms and feed from them.
He says that to the gods, Exandrian mortals are seeds to their eternal garden of exploitation. Very poetic. He speaks of primordials as the first beings of Exandria and the origin of mortals, and that their power has been industrialized to build the gods' world. Imogen interrupts though, asking, were we watching the same orb?
What did you see? What do you see them as? What did you experience through this vision?
I saw them as uncertain, surprisingly changeable, flawed, for sure, but so are we.
The difference is, we don't lord ourselves over everyone else and wipe them clean the minute we have a second thought.
I mean, I know how old you are, so you are probably well-read in history. You know that is not true.
Ludas claims that he has no desire to hold a position of power or leadership, and Ashley gets a whisper with a successful insight check on this, and ooh, I want to know what that whisper contained. He says his only wish is to free mortals from the shackles of the gods, and that he would die 1,000 times over to achieve this. Orym asks how he can be so confident that Predathos won't unleash a living hell on Exandria once it's done with the gods, and Ludas encourages him and the group to commune with Predathos the next time they're on Ludas, saying that Predathos won't consume Exandrian mortals because they are not made of the same stuff of gods who came to this realm from elsewhere just as Predathos did. Imogen talks about her own experience communing with Predathos and kind of goads Ludas about how he is not a Ruidus born.
You trust Predathos because you've talked to him? You've had lots of conversations, and you know what they're saying is the truth.
She's doing sarcasm.
I actually can hear you.
You're very perceptive.
They
call that stank.
Yeah, that's stank. That's a stank.
Fern asks why he has devoted his life to this cause, and he says it's because he grew up in the ashes of the calamity and he witnessed the destruction that was wrought by and in the name of the gods, and he watched mortals continue that destruction even after the gods left to go behind the divine gate.
And I watched as those that remained were told, stay faithful, because they love you, because they'll guide you. And some of these societies rebuilt in their name and their honor, and then continued to wage a cycle of holy war upon each other in their name, even without their feet on this soil. Because their presence throughout all of history has led to ruin. And everything that's beautiful has been from us. And I am tired, so endlessly tired, of us as a society living under this illusion that we're better for it.
You sound just like Father Milo. So wronged, so vain, so important.
I would have to object.
That's fine.
Ashton says that Bell's Hells are now in danger because if the gods find out that they know about what happened in Aor, then they're basically on a divine hit list. But Ludas shares his plan to show this memory vision to everyone in the world so that mortals can make their own choice. Orym points out that the gods have been gone for centuries, but that as soon as Ludas shares this information with everybody, the gods will be back and even more people will die. Breus, who is of course a worshipper of Asmodeus, says that Father Milo was simply trying to get his family back together, and it was the Primes who decided to destroy the city instead of reconciling. Well, Asmodeus was Father Milo.
You've given us a choice between mortals and the Primes, but there is a third choice. There is another set of gods who hasn't done any of the things you're talking about.
If you're referring to your lord, as he looks into your breastplate and the symbol,
That's just that doesn't mean anything.
there are few among their family that hate us more than any other, for the reasons you cite.
Wait, who are you talking about? What's your third option? What do you mean?
Bring the betrayers back.
The Lord of Hells.
But to echo...
Ruiner.
The Ruiner. Great group.
Yeah, great.
Just
Those are just names.
Monikers.
Exactly.
The debate then devolves into a back and forth of like FUs, which I found kind of amusing.
You're a hard person to reach. I had to turn into a wolf and jump on you like a fucking koala backpack just to get this close.
That was good,
It was
yes.
good.
That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you impaled me afterwards, so fuck you a little for that. But
I got carried away.
You
Can I-
also broke our skyship, which kind
No,
of
you
sucked.
threw your skyship at me and I defended
We
myself.
did do
We
that.
did,
We
yeah,
did
we
do
did.
that.
You called a hit on my family a successful one. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Orym in particular is not swayed at all by Ludinus's arguments and continually points out the hypocrisy and the flaws in them. Ludinus expresses regret at what happened to Orym's family and, allowing Odahan to do that, but the group aren't buying it. After some more back and forth, Tevin, the champion of Asmodeus, has just had enough of this conversation and charges Ludinus with his sword drawn, only to be banished back to the hells with a wave of Ludinus's hand. No, sexy devil man, come back. In a final attempt to persuade them, Ludinus turns the charm on, complimenting Fern, talking up Laudna and Delilah, saying that he can free the both of them, but as the group still pushes back, he starts speaking directly to Delilah, recognizing in her a potential powerful ally. He takes a gem of Rudas glass out from his cloak, offering it to Delilah, but then Fern attempts to steal it.
Walk forward. I want to maybe mage hand it.
Mage hand it out of his hand.
from 15 feet away.
While he's looking at it.
No,
What's that over there?
I'm just gonna just like walk around, taking space. I'm listening. Do and then
I love it. All right, so Fern,
Oh no.
I need you to make a sleight of hand check for me, please.
At the most
Wait.
disadvantage.
Okay.
Deeply disadvantaged.
Oh, deeply disadvantaged. Okay.
Deeply disadvantaged.
Okay.
It's so high.
18.
18.
Yeah.
Okay. You see him as he's looking at the stone, and his eyes.
What other moment would you do it?
Fingers creeping.
He looks at it
He just banished a demon.
and just looks up at you with a keen, like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like head tilt, and he's like,
What is that? I was like saying I couldn't see it. I don't have my glasses on.
With Fern's very clever theft attempt thwarted, Ludinus takes the stone and looks to Laudna, but really he's looking to Delilah, tossing it to her. But Chetney manages just to snatch it before Laudna and Delilah can catch it. Laudna feels her body almost puppeted by Delilah, and she grabs Chetney's arm and casts Hunger of the Shadow, dealing necrotic damage. Chetney then puts the stone in the bag of holding and throws it to Dorian as Laudna attempts to wrest control of herself again. During this chaos, Ludnir disappears into a puff of mist, and they hear the entry door to the room close as he leaves. Laudna reaches to the spirit she is haunting Ludinus with in an attempt to locate him, but Delilah...
and you hear it heavily, fuzzily, plunging into your ears. I've waited too long to been this close and have it taken.
What are you talking about? I didn't do anything. I tried. You tried. This is on you.
I'll do what I always do. What must be done.
Laudna feels Delilah taking control, and as Ashton grips onto her, trying to bring her back to herself,
I'm gonna look at you. Straight in the eyes.
What does she say?
What do I see?
You see, like, the darkness of Laudna's eyes, and that spark, that liveliness, that beauty is receding. And where the shadow is flickering up the shoulders, you can see it like flicking up the neck a little bit.
I didn't mean it.
It's okay.
I am holding on. I am watching like a fucking. I actually am very quietly gonna pull your head up so I can see your fucking face.
Bursts into a swirling flare of dark black and purple energy around. You watch as Laudna begins to rise up, her body extending, twisting, her fingers clawing at the end, her jaw descends, her eyes now these open, vacant sockets with burning purple light in them. She screams outward as the purple energy swirls up around her to form the ghostly outer form of Delilah Briarwood.
Oh, shit.
And it's time to roll initiative. Ashton is up first.
Sit the fuck down, bitch. If you want to get what the fuck you want to get, you're gonna have to work.
And he goes into a rage, attempting to knock Delilah out, who casts a shield in response and slams into them with a Wraith Claw strike. Aura misses all 3 of his attacks and throws down his shield and sword, pleading with Laudna, hoping that he gets through to her. Delilah keeps slashing into Ashton, healing for every bit of necrotic damage that she inflicts. Dorian, who's been edging away with the bag of holding, casts invisibility on himself and hides the bag in a corner before returning to the combat, dropping invisibility and giving Laudna bardic inspiration, hoping to get past Delilah. Fern casts Aura of Life, giving everyone in range resistance to necrotic damage, and Fern and Imogen tell Delilah that they want the same thing, with Imogen saying she would do anything to separate the two.
I've been so patient and you all take far too long.
Imogen casts Calm Emotions, but Delilah rolls a natural 20. Breus sends a Sacred Flame, and yeah, I don't know what to say about this other than Sam Riegel's back.
I'll whip around my flail and then...
Balls.
My balls.
There we are.
And then sort of from it comes a...
Yeah.
Yep.
From the balls sort of ejects a hot sort of stream.
I'm so glad you made a paladin.
Right at the monster's sort of
Color.
chest and neck.
I missed you, Sam.
Breus then grants Dorian bardic inspiration, and Chetney uses the Harp of Valor to shoot magic missile. Laudna is up next, getting to make a wisdom save at the top of the round, which she succeeds, which means that she gets to take a turn, having wrested some control of her body briefly. She turns to look up at Delilah's shadowy form.
Please. We both just want peace. Either work with me, or it's time for you to go.
And uses the ability Wrestle from Within, a unique action from a list that Matt handed Marisha that has all these sort of different things she can do. This ability represents Laudna fighting off Delilah's influence and gives all attacks against Delilah advantage. She then casts Phantasmal Force, transforming into Silas, but Delilah sees through the illusion and it just pisses her off. Laudna drags Delilah back to the center of the fight, yelling to her friends, "Kill her!" Delilah casts Blade of Disaster, summoning a necrotic spiritual weapon called Craven Edge.
No fucking way, Matt
That's
Mercer.
exactly
No
what it is.
fucking
That's
way.
exactly what it is. It's totally Craven
It's
Edge.
not fucking Craven Edge.
And if you want to know more about why the cast reacted this way, you can check out my latest video here where I talk about it. The sword slices into Aram and it downs him in just a single attack. Delilah then summons Undead, which rise from the surface, attacking Fern. Ashton attacks Delilah with a natural 20, and she retaliates with another Wraith Claw. At the top of Aram's turn, he comes back with just 1 hit point thanks to Fern's Aura of Life, and he picks up his sword and shield, casting an Intelligence Hex on Delilah and hitting her with a goading attack. He then action surges, slashing into Craven Edge, but his sword passes straight through it. It's ethereal and not material. He then changes tack, attempting instead to knock out Delilah, but she attacks him right back, knocking him down unconscious again. Dorian sprints to Aram, healing him for 20 points with Cure Wounds.
We need you. Are you back? That's what I do.
Come on then. And I'm gonna like kind of slap him on the cheek lovingly and then boost him up the standing.
Delilah shadow steps out of the melee and Fern hits her with a flame strike, which is a huge column of fire and radiant damage, but because Delilah is resistant, she only takes a small part of the damage. The undead warriors swing at Fern, but she casts shield. Imogen turns to Laudna, telling her that she loves her before slamming her with a twinned catapult, sending 2 boulders hurtling into her. Essek casts Haste on Chetney, which triggers Eor's wild magic.
Make it worth my while. And
Oh my
there's
God, if he's a fish.
tiny little goat. Just goes, shoo.
Breus casts Misty Step to get next to Delilah, hitting her with his flail for a natural 20, Divine Smite, and Chetney swipes at her with his wood chisel, then backing up to hide. We come back to Laudna's turn and she rolls another successful wisdom save, this time casting Animate Objects.
Mages of Aor, help a bitch out! I'm gonna animate that big guy.
The construct slams into Delilah, who sends Craven Edge to Ashton, which hits with another nat 20, doing 103 points of force damage, which would have knocked them down, but they stay up thanks to relentless rage. The blade then turns to Fern, stabbing into her for 33 points of force damage, causing her to drop concentration on the aura of life. Delilah then unleashes a huge burst of necrotic damage, doing a stack of damage to pretty much everyone and downing Orem yet again. The only good thing is that this knocks Essek out of his goat form. The undead begin to surround the party, landing attacks against Dorian and Fern. Ashton then walks toward Delilah, transforming into their primordial form made of pure diamond. Orem fails a death save, and Dorian grabs his unconscious body and dimension doors as far away from the fight as he can, stashing the body somewhere and then flying back down into the fight. Delilah then shadow steps out of the melee, and Fern hits her with another flame strike. Imogen casts a lightning bolt, but Delilah counterspells with yet another natural 20. The counterspell triggers wild magic, which does
97.
Oh no.
Is that good or bad? Is that good or bad?
Maximize the damage of the next damaging spell they cast.
No. Go home!
What have you done to us?
What are you that for?
Wait.
What are you talking about?
Essek asks if he should save a spell slot to teleport them out of there, but they tell him to go all in on stopping Delilah, so he sends a 9th level spell, a small bead of dark energy. It's called Reality Break, to tear apart time and space, but Delilah saves against it, so it does nothing. No! However, Briar strikes into her with another divine smite, and
How do you want to...
Wait, are we cheering?
I'm not sure.
Hold on.
I don't know!
I will swing away with my weapon and strike several times. But as I'm doing so, the black ichor that's flying off the weapon is making sort of a splatter all across the wall behind. And after I swing and swing and swing, even after they're down, and after a moment, you see that the splatter is forming a pattern, and it's the symbol of Asmodeus.
Hell yeah.
the undead and Craven Edge disappear with Delilah. Ashton pours a healing potion into Orem's mouth, bringing him back, and Fern casts Cure Wounds on Laudna, bringing her back. Imogen gives her a big hug and...
Okay.
We gotta get her out of here. We gotta get her out. That can't happen again.
Dorian recovers the bag of holding and takes out the Ruidus glass gem, which Fern casts Identify on in a very Fern-like way.
What the fuck is this?
It is an arcane battery that can be used to regain 9 spell slots. They also find the soul anchor that Dominox was bound to, which Essek tells them requires a lot of high-level magic and resources to use successfully, and the group contemplate binding it to Delilah to get her out of Laudna. Essek agrees to help them research the ritual and invites them back to his home to rest and recover. Before they leave Ashton...
Pull out of my pocket a little bit of scrap metal and just quietly just place it right in front of it. Welcome home. Welcome home, buddy. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna get up and crawl over to where y'all are standing.
What the fuck was that about?
Reyes starts to say goodbye to everyone, but is convinced to join up with the group since they have a shared goal, and, also Sam is a part of Critical Role, and so realistically his character needs to find a reason to join them. They arrive at Essek's home, which Matt asks Liam to describe. Essek apologizes for the mess and says that he will get to researching this soul anchor process. Orem sits with Laudna and apologizes that they were not able to find the time to help her, and Laudna replies,
When all of that was going on, lost in the chaos and shadow, I distinctly remember having a thought. If there was anyone here who were to finish the job, put me down, I remember thinking, I hope it's Seedling. I hope it's Orem. You have the ability to do what's right.
Not a lot of my choices have panned out, Laudna.
Reyes Breas pulls Fern aside and commends her fighting style. He confides in her that the vision of the gods scared him a little as he found himself agreeing with Ludas, and that regardless of how things turn out, somebody is going to end up with more power. Imogen shares some cookies around, and Oram notices a portrait on the wall of the laboratory of Caleb and Essek, finally connecting the man they met at the Malleus Key and this new ally. Essek finds a tome to help with the ritual of the Soul Anchor, and after some light goading from Breas, which he counteracts with a hold person spell, the episode ends. As always, let me know your thoughts about the episode in the comments below. I would love to hear what your favourite moments were and what you think is going to happen next week. If you want to know more about Craven Edge or why Liam is the one who described Essek's home, you can check out my deep dive into this episode right here. I did it right! Bye!